Hello, welcome back to Tetris. So today I wanted to look at some of the pull requests that have come in and also see if we can finish up that game over feature. So let's go look at the pull requests that we have. Alright, so we have two pull requests. So we had someone Leon CLI added a volume bar, and I had been back and forth a little bit on it with him. Just at first, it was just a couple images, and then I said, well, that looks good, but could you integrate it in, kind of like tie it into the site, and I know you're just providing resources, but could you try to tie it into the site, and then we can pull that in. And so there was a little bit of a discussion, and so now I want to kind of review what's been going on. So there's a MP3, there's a volume background, volume empty, full, and a volume knob, but I still don't see this being tied into the site at all. Actually, this is they're resources, which is great, but I was kind of hoping for some to this to actually be tied into the site. So I'm still gonna hold off on this one and have some more discussion and try to get that tied in a little bit. Even if you just play it on the page. All right, so the next one is changes to make page more responsive. So here we have he switched it from position absolute to float left. Margin top 10%, width 30%. It's also added the score from being outside, or I guess on top of the box, to now being within that little control area where it says new game and pause game. That's good. I like that change. Here we also have a bit of code. If the window.width is less than 1024, then hide intro. So I guess if it's a smaller resolution monitor or tablet or whatever, then we'll hide the intro, whatever it is that has the intro on it. I'm not sure. We also have some new logic in paused. If the window's width is less than 1024, then find and remove the paused. No, if it's greater than 1024, find and remove paused. Else hide the intro and find the wrapper paused. I'll have to see what that actually does. That's kind of confusing. Pause.text, pause game. Alright, so, okay, I like this. We now have the text of the button says paused game, or it says resume game, depending on the situation. So here we have okay, so I'll have to see that in the code to really see what's going on. Okay. Now the other thing about this is that this change cannot be automatically merged. What that means is that there's a conflict somewhere, and that conflict is going to have to be taken care of by a human being. And so GitHub doesn't have that functionality built in, so you need to pull it down, merge it. Now when you get this message, there's a use the command line link. If you click on that, it gives you exactly the commands to run. So first check out check out this, and then pull from there, right? So that's updating from his fork. And then these are the commands to merge the changes and then push them onto GitHub. And so at somewhere along this point, you're going to hit some conflicts and just resolve them. So we will do that. So first thing, we need to go into our repository locally. We need to pull just in case I don't have the latest. You always want to be working with the latest for doing stuff like this. And then you run git checkout -b Eric 87 Eric master. So we switch to a new branch, and then we want to git pull https github.com Eric 87 Tetris. Nope. There we go. I guess that's in case it wasn't updated. Okay. So now we want to do a git checkout master and git merge. This is the one that everything's going to happen. No fast forward. Eric 87 Eric. So this is strange because I don't see at no point am I I missed a piece of it. So okay. So what I did not do is the git pull. I left out a piece of the command. Eric 87 Tetris .git Eric. There we go. So here we go. Merge conflict in jsgame.js and in index.css. So we just need to take a look at those. So game.js, we have okay, so we do have some stuff, and let's get this merged together, and then we'll talk about what I'm going to change about this due to the changes that we did. So like this was submitted before some of the changes that I had made were actually pushed up. So he was unaware of me switching to this whole new controls scheme. So if not self is game over. Okay. So basically, here's a line that's similar, right? And then he has this logic and this, and then it goes back to being similar. So if we copy that, move that up there, right? And then at the other one, on the other side of it, we have the else, and this apparently should replace this. Okay, so that's that merged. Okay, and then the one thing that I want to do is, well, we have our controls, we have a pause control. So I believe that we're passing one in, right? Yep. So we have pause here. So in here, everywhere he has pause, we should be able to do self dot controls pause. And here, self controls pause. Okay, and then intro and wrapper. So that's kind of new. So we don't have controls set for that just yet, but we will eventually. So the next thing is the next thing to do is to look at the index.css. That was also had some issues. So we have dot button here. We have dot button, display block, intro. So this is his changes, and these are what I have. So we've already got a dot button up there, so I'm going to move this display block up here. Yeah. And, but we don't have this intro. So we'll pull that in. We can remove this. Oh, no. Because this is inside the media query. Okay, that makes sense. So no, we don't want that. That's not the same. Okay, so I'll remove that from here because that's part of the media query. Okay, and I don't see any other conflicts. So the next thing to do is test it out. So we do have our score and blocks down here. I click new game, and the game still functions, at least. And so we pause. That looks correct. Okay. So now the next thing to do is check this responsiveness, because that's what this pull request was for. Okay, I like that design. It doesn't transition well, but I do kind of like what's going on there. Okay. So then, well, it'd be nice to have some instructions that say, hey, double click for. I remember having a conversation with him about, what could we do for mobile platforms. So it'd be nice to have some sort of instruction sheet or something like that. But yeah. All right, so let's cause a game over because that's our next focus is to get the game over stuff working. So I'm not going to worry about the responsive design at the moment. All right, so we still have, what happened to our splash screen? Or did I not fully tie it in yet? I remember making the template. Where do we put the template? Here. Okay, so here's our template, right? So on the game over, so game.gameover, Um, so instead of appending this game over, just throwing in a paragraph tag with game over, what we want to do is inject our template. So the way to do that is, where's our template? We gave it an ID. So game over template. So basically what we want to do is select game over template and inject whatever's in the HTML. So now see? Awesome. All right, so now we have an actual, our little game over splash screen, and self score, game over, box HTML, UI game over, score. Oh wait a minute. I remember something about this. UI game over, template, aha, that's right, and it injects. Okay, yeah, I remember that. So what we actually want is, I don't think we even want this line. I think that gets replaced with this line, right? Which was a little faster to cause the game over for testing anyways. Okay, so what's wrong with my UI game over function? Undefined is not a function, index 14, template.find score, HTML score. Probably template.find, so template, aha, because I'm pulling HTML, okay, I do see what's going on there. Small issue with that is we don't want to pull HTML just yet. We want to do all of this and then return the template.html. Okay, now we don't have the background, however. Where's that game? Self.box.findPause.append, blah. Pause. So now we're missing the paused background. Okay, now, well, our pause did change. If not self is game over. If self.paused. So if it's paused, remove stuff, else box append div class pause. Self.box.html. Okay. So what I need to do is append it to basically it's this. Because what I was doing was taking everything that was inside a box and throwing it out. And that's not what we want to do. We want to append it in there. There we go. That's what we'd like to see. Okay. So now, self.scored is not 200, so something's not quite right at the moment. Because our score is actually 0. We're still not keeping track of time played, and our number of blocks is not 20. So when we look at, where's our template, we have 200, right? 145 and 20. So it does seem that this piece of code isn't working. So what I'd like to do, is see if anything's actually being passed in, because it self.score, self.block count. And we can switch this to HTML instead of append. Append is used for when you want to do something more than once. We don't. We just want to do okay, so score is 0, time is 145, and block count is 11. Okay. So another thing you can do is template.html. And I thought there was a way to make this that expand so that you could read it. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna copy value, and can I paste it here? Thanks for playing. Yep, final score, span class score is still okay. How to deal with this? I think it's because I'm selecting the template and I'm pulling, a template. The template is just a script tag, so it's not. I don't think it's recognizing it as HTML correctly. So we need to work on that just a little bit. And I think one of the ways to do that is we should have yeah, div class splash. So, I'm sorry, index game over template find score time plot. Okay. So we grab the HTML, we grab the string value, right? And then let me try something crazy. Let me try to cast this to a new object. And I wonder if that will do anything. Okay. Look at that. It did. It actually worked. Okay. So what was going on? So I guess if you just hover over it, it displays it. Oh no. Now it's missing the piece that we need. Grr. Okay, well I need to figure that one out. Wait. What if I do that? Such a simple change, but I think that makes sense. Aha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so still a little bit of stuff we need to do. It doesn't look very good when it's a smaller screen. When it's a larger screen, it probably looks a lot better. But basically what happened there was, so I was selecting the template, right? And then I was trying to replace things inside of the template, where I don't really want to change things inside the template. I want to change things inside the instance of the template. So to try to explain this, it was basically like I was selecting this and then trying to change things in here and then calling .html on it, which in theory would work. But I think because the browser doesn't see it as it's not part of the DOM because it's inside of a template tag, that it didn't, none of the selectors were working. So what I did was I grabbed this and then I grabbed it as a string, and then I turned the string into an object. And so that's what this weird call, so here's me grabbing the contents of the template as a string and then casting that to a jQuery object so that I can do these things on it. And then what was happening before was it was taking, the piece that becomes the parent is that, div class splash. Well, that div class splash, if I call .html on it, it returns back its contents, therefore effectively leaving itself out. So when I'm just returning the object itself, including the div class splash, and then that makes it over here, and I just go .html and I throw that in there, and it does all its own conversion, and suddenly it all works. So that's the that's the trick behind that one, I guess. So that's a way that you can use templates inside your. You can write HTML templates just like you would place little, put little placeholders on them, things to replace. Then I would always write a little function that just takes in arguments and does the manipulation. Don't try to do this every single time. Write a function that'll do it for you, and then just pass in the things that it needs. And then you can use it anywhere by just calling that function and then passing in whatever, and it returns back that chunk of HTML with that. And you can do this for anything, from buttons to scoreboards to um, entire tables and you know any sort of anything really. It could be anything. And this is also a great way you could template, like say we're making a different kind of game. Like technically we could have, there's some stuff. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Let's just say you're making some sort of game and you have little pieces and they have more than one piece. Kind of, yes, similar to the Tetris. And I don't know if I could have really used the templates. I might have been able to use templates. I just went with the more self generation than templates, and because it's more CSS based than it is HTML based, I'm just coloring in certain blocks. But if we were to move to a system that had we actually create true blocks and then move them around, then templates actually make a lot of sense for that kind of structure. So anytime you find yourself repeating the same exact chunk of HTML over and over and over and over, throw it into a template and put little placeholders on there that you can replace with stuff. Create a little function and then just call that from your code, and now you have a really, really, really simple way to just you know throw things together and stuff like that. So that's templating in JavaScript, the custom way. And we now have a fully functional game over message with some stats and information. However, the time is still wrong. We will work on that next time. So, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.